everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, June 3rd, 2018. Birthday Suit by Jabot has delivered everything that the name has promised. Can we just take a moment right up top to reflect on and appreciate Kyle's bod? That six-pack, it was like somebody cracked open a roll of biscuit dough and just took each of the individual biscuits and went right on his abdomen. Every single one of those little biscuits was defined and perfect and tasty looking. It was unreal. Unreal, that body. And Y&R put that strategically placed temporary tattoo designed specifically to draw all of my attention downward. It was very hard to look him in the eyes. That's all I'm saying. Very hard. Oh my goodness. I've got to give Kyle some props for being a good sport. He was going along with Billy's alternative marketing plan, and he was actually having fun and jumping in and participating. He could have decided to act like the spoiled brat that he's been acting like and think that he's too good to do something like this. Like he's too prim and proper and he's this, you know, he's the Jack's son and he shouldn't be seen in this light. No, he was doing a good job of getting out there and putting himself out there. And he also seems to be doing a pretty decent job in general of supporting Billy as the new CEO. At the beginning of the week, it was Kyle who kind of turned me around on seeing Billy and his strategy for the company in a different light. Kyle made this really great point about all of these things Billy is doing for Jabot, you know, the popcorn machine or the sleep pods or, you know, revising the CEO office. All of these changes that Billy is trying to make are designed to try to attract younger talent, new people, the younger generation of people who can come into Jabot and offer some fresh, new ideas to the company. So I actually liked that I was able to start seeing Billy's strategy as a mix of new values and old values, and that made me think, you know what, Billy's actually doing a pretty darn good job in this role. In fact, last week I asked you guys in a poll question who should be the CEO of Jabot, and I was expecting either Jack or Ashley to be a smash runaway, and it wasn't. Actually, there was a split, an even split, if you can believe it. 38% versus 38% saying Jack should be the CEO and Billy deserves a chance. So it was a dead heat between Jack and Billy. I think that's a pretty good indicator of a storyline that has fans pulled in different directions and keep, you know, that is something that I think can keep us engaged in the show. I actually voted Ashley. I'd like to see Ashley be the CEO. She has I don't know, I think maybe it's her turn to have a crack at it, but you know, as the week progressed, I really started to come around on thinking that Billy's doing a good job. He did a good job of remodeling the CEO office. I was very skeptical about that because I like my tradition, and Y&R has botched up some of the sets in the past, but it looks really fresh now. It wasn't a complete teardown. It was mostly a subtle change, kind of a nip and a tuck. It wasn't a complete remodel. They seem to have updated some of the fixtures. They've got new artwork on the desk and on the walls. He and Phyllis are getting some good use out of those power-operated vertical blinds that he had installed over the big picture window. That was very sexy. Gotta give a big thumbs up for sexy time. I think the only criticism that I can really even come up with on the new office set is the window that's in the background is a touch on the bright side, and that seems to have been a problem with some of the redesigned sets that we've had lately. There's just this overexposed background, which it's just a little bit jarring to watch visually. It doesn't really look as much like a window anymore. It looks like a light fixture display, and that makes me a little bit sad because I liked seeing skyline out of that window. And also I remember the time when Jack tossed a chair out of that window. That was a good memory for me. We saw flashbacks of that for years and years. I think he was saying to Victor, "You want my chair? Well, you can have it." And he just tosses or "You're never gonna get it," or something. He tosses the chair out the window. It was a good one. But overall, I would say that the redesigned set is a positive change, and everything that Billy is doing as Jabot is coming off to me now as a positive change. I liked Billy's idea to ditch the stuffy old magazine print campaign that normally the company would have used in order to promote their new products, but Billy decided to go with a social media targeted campaign. So now that summer's here, they have a brand new sunscreen birthday suit by Jabot that they're wanting to get the word out about. And frankly, sunscreen is sunscreen. There are a ton of different sunscreens on the market. So I think Billy has done a good job of deciding to find other creative ways to get the word out about their product. And with a name like birthday suit, sold. Sold to me. Billy hires a bunch of models to go out and create a street team and hand out samples of the product around town and in cities across the world. And each and every one of these models, by the way, have perfect beach bods with these #NoTan lines, temporary tattoos placed all over those perfect beach bods, including Kyle's. Kyle first tried to throw up a little bit of resistance as if he didn't enjoy the attention, but he was right there showing off his body with the rest of the street team. And Billy decides to also schedule a live interview on the Hilary Hour to talk about the launch of this new product. What could go wrong with that? Oh, this is so good. So Billy is doing this standard interview with Mariah and Hilary while Kyle is waiting in the wings, chomping at the bit, wishing that this was his moment to shine, and he's criticizing Billy to Phyllis about how boring this interview is. They're losing viewers left and right. Somebody's got to do something. So Kyle decides to seize the moment, and he jumps in the pool to demonstrate how waterproof the sunscreen is. Then he jumps out of the pool, steps full frontal right into the Hilary Hour camera, and realizes that his swim trunks must have accidentally shimmied their way off of his lower half, floated away, and he's totally unbeknownst to him, standing in front of the camera, bare naked. Oops. Oops. Who wouldn't know, but someone hand me a fan. First of all, we need to talk about this is probably one of my favorite moments of the week and of all time. This was so satisfying. We have to talk about Phyllis's reaction. The way that Phyllis saw Kyle walking around nude. I mean, it hit everyone like a truck. But Phyllis took one look at Kyle. She brought her hand up to her chest and she just looked at him with her mouth a little bit open like, oh my. I mean, it was the greatest reaction. Anything negative I was feeling about Phyllis was a little bit wiped away in that moment because she was like a wilting flower. Oh. But it was also like an element of, I'm telling you, I screen capped it. If you do anything for yourself this week, go to yrchat.com. I've posted that photo. It's titled Phyllis Reacts to Kyle's Birthday Suit. It is one of the greatest screen caps that I think I've ever pulled. I want to have it as my desktop background, my phone background. It's just the way that she is like holding her chest, knowing that she is looking at Kyle, bearing all. It's so good. I mean, everyone else is mostly mortified. This is the equivalent of the Janet Jackson Super Bowl incident, an accidental wardrobe malfunction, and what was supposed to be a standard almost an infomercial for Jabot is now a huge scandal. Hilary and Devon are not happy about it. Devon's gonna find out about it, but Hilary's immediately not happy about it at all. She's like, you know, if Jack was here, this never would have happened. Look at us. We're gonna be in complete trouble now for broadcasting nude dude on our show. Hilary thinks she's probably going to be the brunt of lawsuits and angry fans. Jack and Ashley are sitting at home watching this whole thing go down. They're both ousted from the company. They see this scandal erupt and they immediately feel as if their entire family's legacy has been tarnished in one glorious moment. And Billy and Phyllis even are immediately going into damage control mode. But you know that video is gonna go viral. You know it. People are gonna be talking about this sunscreen for months. Their sales are probably going to be off the charts. I think we need a fun poll question this week. Why don't you guys tell me, would you be turned on or turned off by Jabot's accidental birthday suit campaign? YRChat.com. If you were sitting at home and you were just tuning into the Hilary Hour and you saw a nude dude appear right in front of you on your screen, would you run out and buy that sunscreen or would you be writing angry letters? I think you can guess how I'm gonna vote on that. I am ready to plunk down my money right now. But maybe you guys think it's distasteful. I don't know. I imagine that Kyle is probably gonna become a big star as a result of this. A big star. I mean, the fact that he could jump in and out of the cold, cold pool and still make Phyllis and me gasp. That's impressive. I'm thinking now that maybe the Kyle, Tessa, Mariah triangle that I was predicting is not going to turn out to be a triangle after all. Kyle at the Memorial Day party is persisting in trying to pick up Tessa, and Tessa's turning him down, and she finally says, look, I wouldn't date you anyway because of Mariah. And immediately Kyle thinks, oh, well, that must mean that Mariah's into me, and they have some camaraderie going on, and Tessa just doesn't want to tick Mariah off by going after her man. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Kyle then goes sniffing around Mariah, thinking maybe she's got a little secret crush on him, and she basically tells him, no, boy genius, I'm not into you, I'm into her. That was so good. And the actor who plays Kyle, he played it very, very well. I'm sure he had the character probably had a mix of emotions at learning this, but the look on his face just said it all. It was so good. And I really liked the interactions that followed. Kyle could have just been like, all right, whatever. But no, he continued to try to have a little bit of a friendship going with Mariah. They were friendly throughout the week, even after that incident. And it had this good vibe about it. It was like they were razzing each other a little bit, but they also have some things in common. They both feel like outsiders looking in. So there was some good moments of connection there between Kyle and Mariah, some good dialogue, some funny dialogue going on between them. In a way, I get the feeling that maybe Kyle is Mariah's new Kevin. Jack is totally lost inside of his own life right now. He confronted Kyle, asking him about his betrayal. Why didn't you choose to leave Jabot and come along with me? And Kyle pretty much just says, sorry, man. Jabot's where it's at for me. This is where I've got to make my mark. You're on your own. So now Jack realizes that he doesn't have the relationship with his son that he thought he had. He no longer has a job anymore, and he doesn't even feel comfortable living in the Abbott house if he doesn't feel like an Abbott. I can imagine that John Abbott is probably rolling over in his grave over all of this. I can almost hear him saying, you are my son, Jackie. You are my son. There's no DNA test that could ever change that. But I do also see a little bit where Jack is coming from, because that house is becoming a little bit of a trap for him. It's not the same as it used to be. There's all the things going on with his paternity, but also the fact that Dina is there and he's got some resentment toward her. Funny moment when he was sitting at the bar talking to the bartender saying, you know, you're going to be seeing a lot of me. It's going to be almost like we're family. Shoot, with the way my mom got around, maybe we are family. He clearly has some unresolved issues with his mother, and now being trapped in that house with her on top of everything else is probably not healthy for him. I mean, one consistent thing has always at least been that Dina thought he was John. At least she had some level of recognition with him. But this week we saw Dina saying to Jack, what are you doing in here drinking my husband's liquor? She thinks he's now the hired help. He's become pushed out to such an unrecognizable person in the way that Tracy is. So I can just see Jack looking around the house thinking there really is no home for me here anymore. If this is not where I can go to seek solace, then maybe I just don't belong here. And he packs his bags, takes one last longing look around the mansion, and walks out the door. That was a very powerful moment for me because Jack has always loved that house. Peter Bergman's intro, in the intro of the show, is him just looking around the house. Or actually, I don't know if they had that anymore. Maybe it was the previous version of the intro. But that house has always been almost a part of Jack, and vice versa. So he's decided to leave. That's a big deal. Tracy comes back into town being the angel that she is, and she's trying to talk to Kyle, trying to get a sense of what's going on in her family. And when they realize Jack is gone, they both do track Jack down to try to change his mind, to convince him to come back home. Tracy says that the house is not the same without you. This is your home. And I appreciated her appeal to him, but I also can understand Jack's reasoning for not wanting to go back. He was telling Tracy, the house is sort of like a ghost to me now. It's a shadow of something that once was and no longer is. He can't exactly work on finding himself there if he's being haunted by all of these memories of the past.
So he lets Tracy know he's not coming back. This is going to, in fact, be the beginning of a journey for him. He's going on a journey to the moon. I'm gonna have to, though, just take him at his word when he tells Tracy that he is still intending to come back. He knows that he'll come back someday presumably to his roots, and I am looking forward to that. He doesn't quite know what to do with himself, though. He pitches this new business idea to Hamilton Winters, and it immediately seemed odd to me that Jack was pitching a business that he doesn't really have. He doesn't have a business. So he's there trying to give a little bit of, asking Devon and Neil for money and funding when he doesn't even have a product. So Devon and Neil do turn him down, understandably, but Jack later admits to Phyllis that nobody's biting. Nobody really is jumping at his idea, but he doesn't have a product. How can you sell something that you don't have? You know who was really good at creating products? Ashley. She would have been a real great asset to you, Jack, if you hadn't alienated her. She would probably be at Jabot right now, innovating, and you'd still have a job too. It's his stupid ego and that stupid blood Abbott clause just ruined everything for everybody. And I think he needs to continue to take accountability for that. He did try to muster up enough pride to ask Ashley to go into business with him. I love the idea on the surface. I think that this could have been something that they could work together on and maybe come back together but I also entirely understand why Ashley turned him down. It's all too little too late. And she pretty much tells him that she can't go into business with someone that she doesn't trust, and even follows it up by saying, it would kind of also feel like you're using me. I see what you're doing. You want to use me to develop some products for you so that you can have the business that you want to have. I mean, Ashley spent years down in the lab developing all of these visionary new products, while Jack enjoyed the spoils of being top dog, and now all of that's gone for him. I'm wondering if Kyle and Charlie are going to be new rivals. I wonder if Maddie is going to end up developing a little bit of a crush on Kyle, and Charlie's not going to be too happy with it. Did you see the way that Kyle confronted Charlie at the Memorial Day party? Pretty much blames him for the Dina movie film night snafu, as if Charlie did something either on purpose or accidentally to edit that footage. It is surprising that we really haven't had any follow-up on who did that. I still think it's Victor, but I felt bad for Charlie. We all know he's the one person that didn't do it, or I think so anyway. And I think that Charlie deserves better. Like some romance. He was adorable. Just adorable with Shauna at that party. Taking her to the... He wants to get a follow-up on prom. So he takes her to Devon's office and creates a little private moment. And he goes in for the kiss. He gets just one. She lets him have a kiss. And then they just walk out of the office holding hands and back up to the party. It was very, very sweet. I thought that was a good moment to also establish just that this is a young love scenario. It hasn't moved into any kind of hot and heavy situation. This is just the beginning of the blooms of young love. And the next day, he was sweating over the fact that he hasn't had any text messages from Shauna. They had this great prom night, they had their first kiss, and now she has stopped communicating with him. I thought the actor did a really nice job in showing how much he was agonizing over not getting that text. I mean, they spent some time filming him just squirming around in his seat, looking at his phone, putting it away, taking it back out, flipping it upside down, right side up, checking it, no text. It was very good, and it was very realistic, I thought. And he's, of course, thinking that maybe Shauna's not that into him. He agonizes so much over just just finally sending her a text that says, hey, you want to go out again sometime? And that is how young love is. You just analyze every single little word that you say, and you take everything so much to heart. And he hasn't heard back from her until Shauna runs into the coffee house, sees him, and announces, I've run away, and I need you to hide me. I've run away. There was just something about the way that she said it. It was so proper. I've run away. Typically, it seems she used very proper grammar in saying this. Something about that was very jarring to me for this girl to say it in that way. It just seems like it'd be like, I ran away, crap. Help me out. Not, I've run away. It's all very dramatic. But she says she's run away from home. She needs Charlie to help hide her. And so she's secretly camping out in his room at night, which is some kind of weird teenage fantasy come true, isn't it? I mean, can you imagine being a teen? You have your crush that you're obsessed with. You can't get it out of your mind. This is all you can think about. And now they're telling you they need you to harbor them in your room secretly. I mean, I wonder how many teens are like, I wish something like that would happen, just so that I could have my crush right here next to me at night. I'm sure that it's not gonna last though. It sounds like he's sleeping on the floor, she's sleeping in his bed secretly. Lily and Kane have no idea what is going on. I can't imagine they're going to be very happy about it, but I think we need to know more about what exactly is going on with her home situation. She said that her parents up and left town. They went to Colorado to be with the brother who has the drug issues. I suppose they're putting him into some rehab or something of the like, and they've left Shauna with an aunt. And somehow, in Shauna's mind, being with the aunt is more dysfunctional than it even was before with her dysfunctional family. So I don't know why that is or what it is that's going on at the aunt's house. Are we ever gonna know? Is there any chance that we already know who this aunt is? Is it gonna be someone from the past, or someone who is a character from the past on the show? I don't know. Maybe is there going to be some kind of dangerous situation associated with this aunt that Charlie could be getting involved in? Are Lily and King going to have to step in on all of this? I don't know. There's so many questions still in my mind. I guess as long as teenage runaway Shauna doesn't get scooped up into some sex ring, I'll at least be interested to see how the story unfolds. Hilary and Devon back together again and finding out that they're pregnant all in 1 week. This is the Hilary and Devon fans' best week ever. It was very cute. I enjoyed my journey with these two, and it all started with Devon surprising Hilary with an afternoon of pure pampering. Who wouldn't love that? What woman would not want to walk into a surprise couples massage, swimming at the pool, having some drinks? Of course, Devon makes sure that the drinks are non-alcoholic because he doesn't know it yet, she doesn't know it yet, but she is indeed finally pregnant. For real this time. Like for real this time. The last time, that was a false alarm. But this one is really, really true. And I loved that it took pretty much the entire episode for Hilary to track Devon down to just announce her pregnancy. He was always zigging while she was zagging, and she didn't have a chance to find him and have a private moment to give him the joyous news. Finally, she bumps into him at home, and we have the return of Devon's penthouse set. I was really happy to see that set again. It's been quite a while. I bet they were happy to step onto it again for the first time in a while. It's a very fresh very modern set. I like it a lot. I like the colors, the way that it's decorated. We have that lovely staircase and the big picture window. There's so much sex that can be had on that big staircase in front of that big window. It's gonna need a baby gate though. I can tell you that from experience. It was quite adorable the way she announced it. She had him turn around and close his eyes while she's preparing something on the other side. And when he finally does turn back around, Hilary has set up a series of photos on the couch, and it's an actual photo of Brighton James as a child. So it's a little child picture of Devon, then a picture of a plus sign, then a picture of an actual baby picture of Michelle Morgan of Hilary as a child, and then there's an equal sign, and Hilary is sitting at the end of this row of pictures showing her belly, announcing that little Devon plus little Hilary equals the little baby that she's carrying. Very, very cute. I mean, who could resist it? They just embrace after this perfect moment, and I was so happy for them. I think the previews for next week had Devon also asking Hilary to move in with him to the penthouse. Please, I'm pretty sure Hilary probably already has her bags packed. Isn't there a way to write Victor Newman as interesting without making him quite so villainous? First, Victor appoints Nick as COO, so he's second in command to the main man himself. Sorry, Victoria, you're not man enough. Oh, and sorry, Abby, you're not new man enough. I'm trying to hold back my disgust, especially because Victor tells Nick that Victoria has gone in a different direction. That's why she doesn't get to be COO. So what direction is that, Victor? You mean the direction where Victoria has been trying to please you and serve you every single day for years, while Nick went off, started a magazine, ran a bar, built some apartments? Victoria was always the one there. That's the direction. And then Victor also had the nerve to imply that Victoria is somehow weak because she became involved in the abusive relationship with JT, that somehow reflects on her ability to have good judgment. He tells all of this to Victor, or to Nick. Victor tells all of this to Nick. And then in true two-faced fashion, he turns around, has breakfast with Victoria, says not word one about it. Doesn't even bring it up. Doesn't let her know that her brother has just been promoted over her. Victoria has to end up finding out about all of this from Sharon, and Sharon didn't even really mean to light the fuse, but she did. Victoria marches over to Nick's house and says, well, you took this position, you took my job, and you didn't even tell me about it, and you thought I would be fine? Well, Nick assumed that Victor was handling this. The fact that Victor said nothing to Victoria wakes Nick up to the fact that all this is more of the same old from Victor. He's been saying that he's changed. He's been preaching that. But he hasn't really changed at all, and he never really will. There is always going to be some kind of test of your loyalty. There's always going to be Victor pitting his children against one another. Victor's idea of a family business is a cage match where his children go head to head against each other. I guess that whole moment of father-son bonding didn't last long. Was it even 24 hours? I thought that Victor and Nick were going to start to heal. We're going to start to bond. I guess we can forget about them competing in the Chancellor Park father-son potato sack race this year. That's not going to happen. I'm so disappointed. This is not anywhere near where I thought it was going to go. Nick tells Victor that he can just take his job and he can offer it to some other sucker. He's out. Well, Victor then starts waxing sentimental about maybe someday Christian will decide to take over the company. Maybe Noah will want to take over the company. If you're not going to do it, then maybe one of the grandchildren will do it someday. Victor is so obsessed with his genes. Like, his DNA is superior to everyone else on the planet. Christian is just a child. He's probably barely out of diapers. And Victor is imagining him sitting behind his desk at Newman Enterprises. That's sick. It's a sickness. It's a child. Well, Nick says to Victor, look, Noah's his own man. Noah can make his own decisions, but I am not going to let you get your hooks into my son, Christian. So Victor just snaps. He immediately turns around and decides to drop what he thinks is a bomb. After all of these years of keeping it a secret, Victor says to Nick, Christian's not even your son. He's not even your son, so don't call him that. That comment, that moment, was designed to hurt Nick. Victor's held on to this information for a long time. There's no benefit to him revealing it right now other than to wound his own son. Nick just says, yeah, I already know. I already know Christian's not my son, and it changes nothing. Well, you know Victor's not going to be beaten, so Victor has to come right back at Nick and says, well, you know, actually, it changes everything. You think it changes nothing? It changes everything. Maybe we'll just let the courts decide on who should have custody of Christian since you're not his biological father. Do you think they're going to give custody to his uncle or to his rich and powerful biological grandfather? So, a custody battle? Gross! Gross! Taking a child away from the only father he's ever known, well, actually the second father he's ever known. Why? Why couldn't we have just left Victor where he was? Mellowed. Then, of course, Victor has to drag Sharon into the whole thing, has to go on about her checkered past, and surely the courts are not going to let you keep Christian while you're living with that dingbat Sharon, who, by the way, you sued claiming that she was not a fit mother. Ouch. I mean, it had to have hit Nick in the gut when he realized that you go up against Victor Newman and you lose everything. Because Victor has no rules. And Sharon tried to warn him about all of this too. She tried to tell him not to get involved with Victor. It always ends this way. When Nick did finally tell Sharon about Victor's threats, I was afraid he was not going to. I was afraid that he was just going to decide to quietly break up with Sharon, break her heart, and maybe move out just to protect his own case. But he didn't do that. He did end up confiding in Sharon, and Sharon said, maybe it's just an empty threat. There's no way he's going to actually be able to take Christian away from you, but Nick knows that Victor doesn't make empty threats. So he's got to take some kind of drastic action, and he asks Sharon to just up and move. Let's just get out of Genoa City altogether. He's been just so happened to have been offered a job in San Diego, heading up some huge foundation that would probably be a great job for him, but more importantly, it would give him an opportunity to put some distance between he and Victor, gain back the independence that he already had like 2 days ago. What a mess. I just can't believe how fast all of this turned. I feel terrible for Sharon, who's now caught in the middle of all this. Nick's asking her to just move away from Genoa City, to just leave her home, her business. The fact that she's now going to school, she has also a small child that would have to be relocated to school, and she has Mariah. Sharon has to break the news to Mariah that this is an option on the table. She hasn't committed to it, but she did commit to giving it full consideration. And when Sharon tells Mariah, I do think that maybe there was a part of Sharon hoping that Mariah would beg her not to do it. I think Sharon's looking for a reason to not have to go through with this, but Mariah wants to be supportive. Mariah feels as though Sharon's given her a lot and she wants to give it back to Sharon and doesn't want to stand in the way of anything that would make Sharon happy. So Mariah says, you have to do what you have to do, but it was breaking her heart inside. Mariah only recently found her family and is only now starting to come around to the idea of having one, and they're up and moving 2,000 miles away for no good reason. Mariah can see that there's more going on here. Sharon hasn't told her anything about Victor's threats, and she just doesn't feel like she can open up about that. Yet Mariah knows that this is not just coming out of the blue. It's a lot to give up. And Sharon's not telling her what the truth is behind it. So Mariah bumps into Nikki at the athletic club and makes the mistake of asking Nikki what she knows about this sudden move to San Diego, which is zero. Nikki doesn't know anything about any of this. She stomps over to Sharon's house and not willing to accept the party line. She's not just going to take a simple answer. She asks Sharon to be blunt with her and tell her what's going on. Nikki thinks maybe it has something to do with JT, although it doesn't. Nikki is way out of the loop on this one, and Sharon doesn't want to be the one to tell her. I mean, Nikki still thinks that Nick is scheduled to go back to work at Newman Enterprises. It says a lot that so much in this family can change overnight, and Nikki doesn't even know about it. She is going to hit the roof when she finds out what Victor has done, and that's going to be next week. You just know it. I mean, Victor's going to go through with this custody battle. We already saw the preview. We know that he is making moves into making this happen, and Nikki has got to stop him. She will not stand idly by while Victor drives away the only son that she has left, that she has contact with. Remember, like, she lost Dylan. She has no contact with him. She can't even pretend that she knows he's alive. And now Victor's going to drive away her only remaining son. It's just not going to happen. I am damn sure that Nikki is going to do everything she can to stop Victor. And another thing is it completely ruins their relationship. She's not going to be snuggling up with him at the ranch listening to classical music now. So way to go, Victor. Bravo. You have not lost your knack for completely alienating and driving away the people who love you. It's what we've come to expect from you. Abby is back from Miami with Arturo. They had a very, very
fun time, but no sex time. No sexy time. But it sounds like they had a great trip. They saw Arturo's family. They enjoyed themselves. Abby was able to conduct a little bit of business while she was away. She seemed even to feel very good about that. The fact that she was able to be productive while she was on vacation. But the second that Abby comes back to the office, Victoria is there like hell on wheels, pouncing all over Abby, making her feel guilty and like it's selfish that she took a long weekend to have a very short vacation. Ugh. Victoria is right back to where she was before all of this JT thing happened too. I was liking the softer side of her, but no. And Victoria was so hard on Abby that Abby had to immediately turn around and have another vacation. She tells Arturo to meet her at the athletic club. We need to have some drinks, pretend we're still in Miami, and that is when she's kissing on him as Nikki strolls into the scene, sees the whole thing. I was surprised, but also really loved that Nikki went directly to Abby downstairs when Arturo had left. Nikki told Abby all about her relationship with Arturo. Didn't wait for it to be found out another way. She just let Abby in on what's been going on, that she and Arturo had a relationship. It's been over for a month now, and Nikki was very clear to establish that. And also that it wasn't exactly an affair. Victor knew all about the relationship that she was having. Abby was gagging. She was gagging. It is going to take her a whole lot of therapy to wipe that mental image away from her mind. And Ashley's reaction was pretty good too. When Abby told her later, filled her in, all of a sudden it started making sense why Nikki was trying to encourage Ashley to get involved with Victor a couple of months back, because they had their open relationship. She wanted to push Ashley in Victor's direction so she could have her man. Oh my, I just was very surprised. I wasn't expecting the information to come out from the horse's mouth, but I also didn't get the impression that Nikki was telling this to Abby in any way to sabotage Abby and Arturo's relationship. I didn't get the impression that it was out of jealousy. I thought it was just a matter of Nikki letting Abby know what had been going on, putting the truth out into the open, as opposed to feeling like she was keeping a secret from her stepdaughter. Although Nikki did bring up something that didn't seem to be a concern for her before. She tells Abby that, is it a coincidence that we both have very powerful last names? We both have very healthy bank accounts. Nikki's never really expressed any concern about Arturo being after her money before, and she did bring that up in front of Abby. So I don't know, maybe I'm just interpreting it the wrong way. Do you guys think that Arturo is after money? And do you think that Nikki told Abby about their relationship purely to keep her in the loop, or do you think that she was trying to break them up? I'm not sure, but Arturo is going to have one heck of a hole to dig himself out of now, and I am looking forward to seeing what his reaction will be when Abby confronts him about it. I'm sure that'll be, probably next week, I would imagine. I feel sorry for Abby. I really do. I mean, even if everything about Arturo is completely innocent and he's a good guy and he's able to explain everything rationally, which I have a feeling he might do, I can almost hear Abby screaming on the inside, why can't I just have a normal relationship? Please, no kidnapping, no murder, no open marriage affairs with my stepmother, please. Loquacious
loquacious is part of my charm. Kyle said that during last week's show as he was butting up into Tessa and Mariah's movie date. They said, you know, you sure are loquacious, or meaning you're chatty, you're talkative, you can't keep your mouth shut. And Kyle let them know that, hey, that's just part of his charm. Congratulations, Ambreen and Henry, Heather, Erica, LJ, Nancy, Coral, and Sharita. You guys all got it right. Here's our new quote of the week. Biology be damned. It's interesting, isn't it, how often biology comes up in soap operas. It's definitely a theme. Biology be damned. Who said it? If you think you know, yrchat.com. Leave your guess, and if you get it right, you will get your grand shout out next week on our chat. Anna says, I was looking forward to seeing Nick go back to Newman, and I thought he would, but nope, he didn't even get there one day. You and me both, Anna. I thought this was going to be the beginning of something, and it ended up being the beginning of something, just not what I thought. Daisy says, Nick is such a selfish brat, and I can't stand him right now. Who in business would keep Victoria on as COO after she betrayed the company? Colluding with Jack and giving him company secrets pretty much solidified that she's not strong enough to separate her personal and professional life, and she got caught. So I get where Victor's coming from. I also think it's still a possibility for Victoria to prove herself again. Nick could have just kept his mouth shut, taken the job, and left the door open for Victoria to return as COO. Nick had some power as COO, but his decision to walk away, again, blew it. That's a really interesting perspective, too. Yeah, there's so many other ways this story could have gone, too. Nick could have got in there and paved the way to boot Victor out of the company. But Nick's a good guy, you know. And he's not exactly the manipulative, conniving type. But, you know, that's interesting, too, saying that Nick is a selfish brat. And I think that that's how Victor sees him for sure. Sharita says, I can't believe Victor this week. You're still walking with a limp from your stroke, but you're already declaring war on your son again? Did you learn nothing, Victor? T. Nicole says it's so difficult to hear Victor think Victoria is weak for not leaving JT right away. That's your daughter. That was a hard one to swallow, making it seem like Victoria should have been better, or should have known better on how to handle her domestic abuse. Also, just remarking that Abby and Victoria will never be CEO in the ranking of his children. They are all his children. Apparently, Nick can call the FBI on Victor, but after so much time, it's okay. But Victoria can do her stunt with Jack and never be COO. Means no amount of time passing can erase that. If Victor just treated all of his children with respect and equality, then I would see them all working for Newman and very easily have the option for someone to take over Newman Enterprises when he leaves. It's the mind games and manipulation that Victor does that drives his children away, and then he's at a loss on who can run his company. That was an interesting moment too, T. Nicole, when Victor was listing all of the reasons why pretty much the girls can't be CEO of the company. Faith's too soft. She's too good-hearted. She's 12. Come on. Yeah, it's a mental issue, I think. It's some kind of egomaniacal megalomania thing that he's got going on that probably just hasn't been diagnosed. Diana says, Jack and Nick should team up and start a business together. They're both at a point in their lives where they want to have a fresh beginning. This is their chance. With the combined years of business experience, knowledge, and motivation, they could be a force to be reckoned with. Victor would be furious. Oh, please let that happen. If you think about it, Jack and Nick are both drifting a little bit. I mean, I'm imagining Nick is going to really have his hands full with a custody battle that I hope doesn't end up coming to fruition. But if it doesn't, I do really like that idea of those two working together. Maybe it would be a little bit of just desserts to see Nick bonding with Jack instead of with Victor. Well, Ellen says, Sharon can't leave Mariah. They have such a great relationship now. Of course, Nick and Sharon will never actually leave Genoa City, but abandoning Mariah is unthinkable. Also, I love that off-the-shoulder blouse that Sharon's wearing. I noticed that blouse, too. She was giving me country chic or something, Sharon was. I also have to have a couple of other fashion notables here. I liked Nikki's white and black polka dot blouse that she had with the big sleeves. They just were like dangly, and the way she was standing in Sharon's house with her hands on her hips, it really draped gorgeously. And I really loved when Abby was at the club with Nikki, and she was wearing a white blouse with this really cool dangly black collar on the blouse, and it was closed in with this really pretty pearl brooch. That is something I would wear. She's just styled very well right now. I like looking at outfits too sometimes and thinking that would be part of my wardrobe. A lot of the times the way they have Ashley styled is the way I would personally want to be styled. I like those drapey things. That pearl brooch was gorgeous. I like a little bit of vintage. I kind of like a vintage blouse vibe, and that's what that blouse that Abby had on was giving me. It was gorgeous. Hey, and speaking of Ashley, this is an older comment from Gary because it came in last Sunday, but I have to bring this up because Gary was reacting to a suggestion from last week that Ashley and Neil would be a good couple. And Gary says, I think it's hard to put Ashley in a romantic relationship in a way because she's so cool. And she's always so suspicious and on top of everything. As beautiful as she is, she's not that great of a romantic character. That point just stuck with me quite a bit as I was watching Ashley throughout the week. There is some truth there. Ashley is very stern. If we watch her interacting with Billy and trying to push her agenda on him, and even when she's sitting there with Jack watching the big Hilary Hour reveal of Kyle, Ashley has this very stern and almost prude look on her face. That's another screen cap if you want to go to yrchat.com. I screen capped Ashley and Jack's reaction, and Ashley just brings her lips in real tight, like she immediately tenses up at the idea of anything scandalous. So I think that's a really good point, that Ashley is very frigid, and it does, as you say, as beautiful as she is, it does maybe take away a little something from her and her romantic life. She really hasn't had a whole lot of relationships that have worked. I remember her being with Blade back when I started watching the show, and it was not notable. Or she was with Tucker. I mean, Ravi is the guy that made her seem the most sensitive, I guess, or maybe soft. But yeah, a lot of the men that she's chosen to get involved with, it's not a big romantic story for Ashley. She's always involved in business storylines and less so in a romantic way. But I would like to see maybe somebody bring some of that softer side out of her one of these days. Oh, who was the scientist? Dr. Neville. Oh, he was. I felt like that could have been a good coupling. Come on, Y&R. Ashley needs a man. Oh, yeah, and Victor. She was with Victor, who was also cold. Marianne says, Y&R's walking a tightrope with Jack's paternity storyline. If it turns out to be Dina's confusion, then how long should they go with this before the viewers will feel their time has been wasted in the same way viewers of Dallas felt when one of the seasons in the 80s turned out to be Pam Ewing's dream? On the other hand, if it turns out that Jack is not John's son, they will alienate some longtime viewers who are probably most interested. Those are the viewers who are probably most interested in the outcome. Oh, good point. I love the Dallas callback. I love Dallas. I've said that before. But it is correct, I think, in analysis to say it is a little bit of a tightrope. I think you're going to make half of the people unhappy if this turns out to be true, yet how far can you take it before you really need to make a decision on it? I don't know. Hey, Superplex says this would be a good time to see the return of Gloria. She's the ideal character to salvage Jack's ego from its descent into oblivion. She could shore up his courage and fortify his drive to recover his position at the pinnacle of the Abbott dynasty. The two working together could regain entry into Genoa City's creme de la creme, making Jack once more a worthy adversary of Victor. You know I love that idea. Jack and Gloria, yeah. I mean, Jack doesn't have to be alone. And Gloria did say something to him the last time she was on the scene to the effect of, I'm always going to be Team Jack. I need my job here, so I'm working with Billy, but I'm always going to be Team Jack. He should be reaching out to her. She would be an incredible resource. Connor says, is it just me, or do the Jack and Sharon scenes make you want to them to be better friends? I don't remember when Jack and Sharon were together, but I absolutely loved watching the quick scene of them just talking. More Jack and Sharon, please. I remember them being married. It was almost kind of a runner-up situation. It was after Phyllis and Nick got together, and it always kind of seemed like Jack really wanted to be with Phyllis and Sharon really wanted to be with Nick, but Jack and Sharon were together as runner-up just to switch the couples. I never really felt the chemistry with them as a romantic pair, but I did also enjoy the scene of them just being friends. Laura, this is great, says, I love the old Restless Style cover that's framed in Billy's office now. I just noticed it and thought that was a cool little throwback. I noticed it too. Right behind Billy's new desk, he had some different pictures up and one of them was a Restless Style cover. Yes, noticed that too. And if you didn't see it, then look for it next week. Ambreen says, I actually wish Jabot Cosmetics was a real thing we could buy. Me too. I would totally buy it. I wonder why they've never really tried to launch an actual cosmetics line to go along with the show. Ellen says, help. I actually liked Kyle today when Mariah said Sharon takes in strays and he said arf with a little smile. What's happening? Well, Ellen, what's happening is you're being pulled into the charm of this new actor. You didn't realize it was coming and he just got you. You didn't even notice it, and then now all of a sudden you're in. That's how I feel too, except he had me before ARF, but he really had me with hashtag no tan lines. T. Nicole says, I loved the scene with Mariah and Kyle. She is seeming like the person who Kyle can open up to and fully talk about where his head is at, and he will be that for her. Mariah can bring out the vulnerable side of Kyle. Maybe Mariah will realize her feelings for Kyle when Summer comes back. Cause a triangle between Mariah and Summer. But Kyle in the end will pick Mariah. We need to give Mariah a proper love story and let her be someone's number one. We did see the preview that Summer was going to be coming back into Genoa City. I didn't realize that was going to be coming as fast as it seems to be, but maybe next week, maybe toward the end of next week, we'll have Summer, and we'll just have to see what they're deciding to do with her. I don't know if it's a long-term contract. Is she on for a year, or is she just on for a brief stint? I'm not sure. We'll have to see how they work her in. Superplex also says, Kyle and Victoria? Yep. It was interesting to see their little reaction. I don't know if they would, if they'd go there with a love connection, but we gotta pair Kyle with somebody, especially now that we've seen him nude. Laura says it was so cute when Charlie pulled Maddie away when she spotted, then stopped, and then stared at Kyle during the Memorial Day barbecue. that has to be a hint about something. I think that's it. I think Maddie's gonna have a crush on Kyle, and maybe there'll be some problems around him being a little older and her being younger, but she is studying, I think, for her SAT, so that must mean she's close to legal age. Oh, Joanne says, almost ever since Mal started writing the show, I have ended many episodes with no, wow, or my eyes bugging out. The latest was that burger flip to Lily. Hysterical! I'm really enjoying the excitement. Joanne, that was so funny. I cannot even believe that Y&R did it. It was, that in and of itself was a little bit scandalous. Hilary flipping the burger and it accidentally landing in between Lily's boobs, and she's just standing there looking at her burger boobs. I also screen capped that if you want to go back and relive it. But it was a funny moment, and I like this. She didn't exactly hit the roof over it either. She tried to keep it calm even though she was steaming. Well, let's end up with some promposals. I asked you guys last week who you'd like to get your promposal from. I said Kane, but quite a few of you decided to weigh in with some other options. Consuela and Laura said they both want to be spinning around that prom dance floor with Billy, which is a good choice. Billy is very sexy. Funny moment also when Phyllis was talking to Hilary about how this whole new man on top business big guy at Chabot vibe that Billy's giving is really hot. Like, it's turning it on a lot. That was really funny. Billy is a good pick. He'd be a suave guy to have on your arm. Sharita said she'd be, or she didn't say it, but I'm saying it, she'd be making out in the limo with Nick or Arturo. Or Sharita says if you can have a throw it back, she'd go Malcolm, Brad, or Adam. I love that you mentioned Brad. That's a good one too. He'd have to be my pick if we got a throwback. I'd go Brad too. Ambreen would be at the prom gazing into Kane's eyes or Malcolm's lips. And Superplex would have a big old corsage just for Lauren. That's Superplex's date. Aaron, you're a little stingy here, Aaron. You wanted to have a foursome date. You wanted to take Nick and Kane and Neil. Let me tell you, that's the limo I want to be in. Oh, thank you, everybody, for all of the 10-year anniversary comments and congratulations. I really felt the love. It was an awesome Sunday to see all of these positive comments coming in from the Y&R chat and people getting around to watching the 10-year anniversary video. So thank you, everybody. That really made me feel supported and happy, and I hope that it made you guys happy too. Oh, the show made me real happy on Friday. Not even kidding you, the image of Kyle was carrying me through the weekend. It was all I was thinking about, and that screen cap of Phyllis, it is so freaking funny. It was me. That was my face. Go look at Phyllis's face in the screen cap. That was me. Just, almost didn't know what to do with myself. Somebody hand me a fan and a big old drink. I just gotta get it under control. It was a little much. I'm very into Kyle right now. Gee, I wonder why. I have a feeling maybe he picked up a few new fans this week. Are you one of them? Oh, well, that brings me to the end of the Y&R chat for this week, but I'm going to be back next week, and we'll dig into the show. We'll dig into some more of your comments. YRChat.com is a good place to leave them. You can vote in the polls there, see all the extra goodies I got on the website, and we'll come back next week at this time and see where we are. Okay, everybody. I love ya. Bye.